Good day, good people. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show how to implement an auto ID number or an auto identification number. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to launch my Visual Studio because I'm going to use Visual Studio, C Sharp, and I'll be dealing with Windows Form. So I'll come all the way to create a new project, and I'll name that project auto ID number. Okay, this is how I want it to be uh, named, auto ID number. All right. So I'm going to browse to specify the project or the folder I want to save my project. So I'm going to select this one, this folder here, exercises. And I'm going to create a new folder, sorry. All right. Let me just quickly create a new folder. I'll call it as auto ID. All right, I think this is fine. All right, so I'm going to click on OK. So it's going to be an empty project, an empty Windows form. All right, so I'm just going to quickly design this form because I want this form to look like this, where there will be the where I'll get my the number of the student or the student number, the ID of that student, the name of that student, his surname, and obviously the sex of that student, right? So I'll need how many? I'll need one, two, three, four, five, six. I'll need six labels, two text box, and one combo box and two button. All right. So I'm going to change this. So they have to name them name, surname, and sex. All right. This label here will be named as I'm going to change it from text or from label 4 to name. All right, the next one it's surname. Then the last one is sex. Okay, so let me try to change the disposition so that it can make sense. This one also can just come here. I think this is fine. So for the text box and that combo box, actually for this combo box I have to load two values here. Let me put two different items inside this combo box. So first one is going to be male and the second one is female. All right, sorry, I have to click on OK. Then let me, how do I name this label here? Students, student management. Okay, so this one I'll call it student management. All right, let me put it here. I'm going just to reduce this window. Let me change the font of this label here. Arial. This one I'll say 14 a size. Yeah, I think this one should be fine. Now I need to change the name of this form. Actually, the text of this form, I'll say students management. All right, so this is fine. This is how I want it to look like. This one should be fine like this. If I push it a little bit here, actually let me try to retrieve it to push it a bit further down there. I think this should be fine. So let me now rename this button here. It has to be named as save. And the second one I'll say reset. No, sorry, resets. Okay, so now that I'm done with the design, I have to go do the database. Let me go on database side. Because it is about database, let me try to click on text editor. I have to add one more namespace here, so I'll call it as using system dot data dot SQL clients, and then semicolon here. This is the one that is going to help me to deal with database. All right, now I need to make use of connection string. So to make use of connection string, first of all I need to create a database. All right, so I'm going to use SQL Server Management Studio. I'll come all the way to database, right click, I'll select new database, which I'll name as auto ID number. All right, let me name it auto ID number. This is the name of my database. So I'm going to specify where I'm going to save my database. Let me select a location. Let me specify the location where I want to save this database. I click, let me select the folder which I just created. Uh, Actually, it was on exercise as name of the, what is it? Alright, let me do this. See, I'm just going to look for exercise. There it is. I expand it here. Auto ID, this is the one I want. Alright, let me click on auto. And let me specify also this one. Alright. Okay, this is the one that I want. Sorry. I click on OK. Just going to wait a bit. All right, now the database has been created. For me to say it, to see it, let me try to refresh. I can explain here. So this is the database that we just created, but it's for now, this database does not have any tables for now. So I'm going to create a new one, new table. I need some property for this table here. All right, so the first one, the first column will be named as how do I name this? Let's say student ID. I'll name it as student ID. Actually, let's do this. All right, student ID. The data type of it, I want it to be nvarchar maximum. Nvarchar max. And the second one should be name. Then I'm gonna also give it nvarchar max. The third one should be surname. Nvarchar max is data type. And the last one, obviously, it's sex. I would say 50 and varchar 50. So none of these columns should allow nulls. That's why I have to untick this checkbox. Let me quickly check if they are matching my data here. So I need student ID, name, surname, sex. It seems like it's fine. It seems like we are doing fine. So now I can save it. So it's asking me the name of my table. I'll name this table as students. All right, just say student ID. Actually, let me give it like this. Okay, student ID, and I click on OK. We close here. I need to refresh this database for me to be able to see the table that I just created. So this is my table. Obviously, let me try to open it. There we go. As you can see, for now, this table's got actually four property or four columns. The first one, it will handle with it will handle the ID, the name, surname, and sex of that student. Okay. Okay, so I'm done with my database. Let me now get back to my Visual Studio. Let me get, let's go to text editor. I need to put a connection string here. So I'll say SQL connection string, which will stand for CN. This is how I'm going to call it as new SQL connection string. So inside here, I have to pass the connection string that I must create. All right. Let me go select my connection string. I have to put 8 here first, and I'm gonna put my connection string. So it's very easy for me to get the connection string of the database that I just created. I'll come to SQL, I'm coming to Server Explorer. Then I come all the way to connection. I have to create another connection. So since it's a local database, I'm just going to put a dot. Then I come all the way down here. I have to select the database, the name of the database that I just created. Here it is. Remember, I chose code auto ID number. So I select it. So as for now, I already connected my database to my Visual Studio, which will allow me to get the connection string. The connection string, you come here on the property window. This is the one. So I'm just going to copy it as it is. And then double click, I'm going to open my text editor. So inside here, I have to paste connection string that I just copied. All right. So it seems like it's fine. This is my connection string here. And after that, so to make this video short, I'm just going to copy the source code that I already created and then I'll paste. But here, obviously, I must make use of the variables. But actually, let me just go get the variables the way I named them. All right, to not to make this video too long. So as you can see, connection string, they are already there. So I'm going to make use of one variable here, which I'm going to call val. And I'll say, let me see quickly here. All right, actually it's below connection string. So I'll say val. Now actually, let me define the data type of that variable. So it has to be double. And I'll call it val. Let me now assign a value to that variable. I'll say 0 and semicolon. So we'll see the reason why I'm naming this variable as val, and then I'm giving it 0 as value. As we're going through this tutorial, you're going to understand the reason why. Okay, next thing to do, I need to create a method. That method will help me uh, generate auto ID, and I'm gonna call that method as auto ID number. Let me just copy the way it is like this. Okay, so let me create a method. I'll say private void auto ID number, and then all right, so I have to put some source code here, the one that will help me to do the auto identification number. Let me just copy it to make the video short. There it is. I'm going to copy it and quickly paste it here. This is the method that I'm creating. So this method or this function is not returning anything. That is the reason why inside these parentheses I did not make anything. All right, I did not put anything. I left it as it is. But now you can see it's underlining here. Actually, let me try to quickly explain to you this is how it's going to work. So first of all, I'm going to open my connection string or the connection of my database. Then I'm going to make use of SQL command. So which I named. This is a variable actually. This SQL command I just created a variable which I named CMD. CMD stands for SQL command. All right. So here I have to put the query. Actually, the query is here, but I need to name it the way it is, the way it should be, so that it can match with my database. Inside here, it's the name of the keyword where I want to do the connection. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so let me go on renaming this table here. I'll call it as T students. Let's say T students. This one will make sense. All right. Okay, so this is the name of my table. So T students. Okay. All right. This is the name of my database, my table, and here inside the keyword, I think it should be students ID. Let me quickly check. All right, student ID. So it's fine. Okay, it's fine. All right. And then here it's underlined because this is the name of the label where we need to assign the value of our auto number, auto ID number. So it's underlining because it's not matching with the name of the table which is on my phone. So let me go on renaming this label here. I'm going to call it as label ID because I'm going to display the ID number on this label here. Let's say label ID. Okay. Let me get back to text editor. So I'm just going to, you can see it's no longer underlined. So this one does not have its place here. That is the reason why it's underlined. All right. So actually, let me get back. It is a variable that we made use of, but we did not declare this variable as yet. That is the reason why is underlined. It says that it's an error. It's a mistake. Should not be there. I think that it's fine for this variable. So we managed to create our method, which will help us to create auto identification number. But for this method to work, I have to copy as it is and paste it on the load events of my form, so that once the form is loaded, it is going to take this method in charge. All right. Let me check one more thing here. If everything is fine. Seems like it's fine. Let me try to launch now my Visual Studio. Actually, I'm going to execute my application to see if the auto ID is working. So something is wrong here. It says that system dot argument exception keyword not supported. All right, so there's a mistake here on my connection string, which I have to fix. All right, I think this 8 sign should be outside there. Should be here, if I'm not mistaken. All right. Okay, let me try to start now. Definitely we can see that error is gone. So as you can see now, our first value is 01. So which means the first student that that we're going to save into our database will have this ID 01 because that will be the first student in our school. But for now, we can't save or we cannot insert these students for us to go to the second student because we did not put the code that will help us to do the insertion of the informations into the database. So let me go on putting some source code which will help me to save the informations into the database. So those code, I have them. First of all, let me try to rename this button here, because by default it's called button 1. I don't want it to be like this because it does not make sense. I'll call it rather button save. Okay, let me also go for this reset button here. I'll say btn, which stands for button resets. So all right, that's fine. Btn resets. All right, so I'm now click on this save button here. So actually this button is going to help me to save the informations into the database, and those informations will get the ID that will be displayed here on this label. All right, so I already created some code just to make the thing very easy. Actually, I just forget to name this two text box here. I did not name them, and this combo box here. So let me go on renaming this text box. Instead of being text box 1 by default, I'll call it as text txt name, and the second one will be named as txt surname. Oh, it should not be let's say like this, surname. All right, then this combo box here, I'll call it as a cmb 6. That's fine. So let me go on now. Copy it. I'm just going to copy this code here, and then I'm gonna paste them. Actually, I can, okay, can just do this. Copy them. I think it's gonna make sense here. Click on reset. So reset is about clearing the zone. This one is not matching. Actually, let me just tap them quickly. So the first one is txt name dot text. I'll say like this, and then semicolon. And next one is going to be txt surname dot text. I will assign this for it to clear the zone. And last one is cmb combo box for sex dot text and semicolon. So actually, basically, what I'm doing, I'm clearing the zone so that they can be empty whenever I click on the reset button here. Okay, let me try to launch. So once the software is launched, if I happen to type something here, and once I click on reset, it has to reset them. All right, you can see, so it clears them. There's nothing there. That's the meaning of the code that I just put now. So let me now go for putting the code which will help me to insert the information into my database. So I'm making use of this saving button here. I'm going to paste this code and a bit of explanation here. So I'm going to save the information into the table, which should be called, this table here is named student, but this is not how I name my table. My table is named as t underscore student. So let me correct it, t underscore students. Okay, now inside here I have to pass the value of the column here, the name, all the names of the column. So first value of this column is named as student ID, and the second one is going to be name, and then surname and sex. Okay, so let me do that then. So it's students underscore ID, and then name, then surname. I think this is how it is. Student underscore ID, name, surname, and lastly sex. It's fine. Now when it comes to value, I have to pass the value which are on my form for me to be able to insert the information into the database. All right, so I'll start with the plus sign here. Then the first one is obviously it's label, if I'm not mistaken, label ID. All right, label ID text dot text. So all right, and then the second one is going to be single quotes, double quotes, double quotes, single quotes, single quotes, then semicolon here because it's not done. I have to put the other one inside. So plus plus, it's going to be text name. Start with name first, dot text. All right, and then next one is going to be single quotes, double quotes, double quotes, single quotes. So inside you have to put all right, it's going to be text surname dot text, and then the last one, it's obviously combo box for sex. So it stands for CMB. Now, actually, I have to put the plus sign inside here. All right, CMB 6 dot text. Yeah, it seems like it's fine now. So these things, they seem nice. Yeah, I think it's fine. Okay, let me try to launch my software. Let me say a name here. I'll say Diego Damona sex. Let me select the sex here, the male, and click on save. Seems like it's throwing an exception here. There's no reaction. Oh, actually, I think it's working. The thing is, I did not initialize or I did not cleanse the zone after I'm done with the registration. So basically, I was supposed to copy this line here, this code here, and paste them once I'm done. And then after I'm done saving the information, I have to initialize my auto ID number so that it can be live. All right, so I'm gonna copy this method which I just created and then paste it after the zone are cleansed, semicolon here. I think this should be fine. Okay, let me start again one more time. As you can see, there's already number 3 here. So let me go on creating someone else. Say about for example, Martial Mozingo, sex, she's a female. I click on save. If you look at here, it was number 3. Now it goes to number 4. So which means this uh, auto ID number is working properly. All right. So let me try to create another student, which definitely will get as 05 as number. So I'll go for GFT. Okay, sex is a male. Once I click on save, so this ID goes from 4 to 5. So which means this code is working perfectly. But suppose that you want this ID to be mixed with letters, because now as you can see it's only numbers. So we are incrementing only the ID, and this ID it's only numbers. But maybe you might need this ID to have also some letters with it. So how do you go for that? Well, that is very simple. Let me try to do something here. So for that to be good, for me to mix the number with letter, I have to make no use of another variable, because remember the variable that we just created here, 01, is the one that appears actually 0. It's this 0 here that comes first. So if you need to mix this ID with letters, we just have to create another variable. So I'll call that variable as um, let me say ID. I'll call it ID. Then I'm going to, sorry, I'm saying ID. I'm going to assign as st value inside that ID. Sorry. Column here. All right, so it is underlined because we did not specify the data type of that variable. So it's a string actually. All right, so I'm going to make use of this string that I just created. It's variable. I've assigned st as value of I've assigned st as value to that variable, and this variable is string as data type. So let me now make use of that variable. I'm going just to make it inside here so that it can be displayed on the label for the ID. So I'd say ID plus val plus I. This I is for incrementation, but since it's the mixture of string and integer, so it's going to retain a string value which is going to be displayed on the label ID. Okay, let me go on. Can you see now it's no longer 05, but it's ST05. So let me go on creating another student. I'll call this one Kevin Masamba, and sex it's female. Let me click on save. As you can see here, so it's no longer ST05, but it goes to ST06. Let me save one more time the last student, which I'll call, how can I name this student here? Let's say Carmel. It's okay. She's a female. If I click on save, you can see here it's changing. So this auto ID is working properly. Now let me open my database and to see if all the data that we have been inserting there are really inside our database. Okay, there we go. So this is all the data that we just created. They are actually inside our database. So this is how you're going to go about if you want to implement an auto ID application using C Sharp, using Windows Form application. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for watching my channel. I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel if you really like this video. That's the only way you're going to encourage me to do more. And don't forget to turn your notification bell so that next time if I published a video, you're going to be alerted. Maybe that is going to be what you have been looking for. So in the meantime, take care, guys. Bye.